Morning, everybody. How we doing today?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you, Dave?
Well, I don't know if I think we scared everybody off here, Ty. There's only 4 people online right now. I take one day off, invite you in, and then you're on mute.
And we're 2 of them.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going on with that.
You couldn't hear when I say good morning, everybody. Good morning, David.
Good morning. You're kind of ghosted there in your image. I tried to go live to Facebook, but it's not letting me connect. I don't know if you've had any issues connecting to Facebook groups recently, but it won't let me connect at all.
Yeah, they did that new live video update, and I know a few people that haven't been very happy with that. So we'll see. Technology evolves, it changes, it improves.
All good. Let me just remind everybody that the class is starting.
I'm excited about this morning, man.
Yeah.
Can you see me, or you can just see the background?
Pretty much just the background.
Oh, I gotta change it because I don't know what's happening. My laptop, it does show me. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to do that.
There you are. We see you now. I had to build a new office, so I'm actually in my dining room, right? Because I got to be able to see the fridge and the freezer. So when the kids get into stuff, I can be like, nope, 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 you know, and just like motion for them to get away from the fridge. Yeah,
no
so I
kids
took over
in this house. My son is 42 years old.
No way.
Yep, 42.
And
no grandchildren. He was married, but no children.
All right, so now let's, it's 10 o'clock, so we're going to start on time. Today, I want to talk about, we're going to, one of the probably last applet that we have not spent any time in over the last, I don't even know how many weeks we've been doing this now, 6 weeks? Going back to March 18th, so a little over a month of recordings that we have banged out here. We haven't really talked about goals and reporting inside of Command, and it's kind of the lost nuance that most people don't really even realize is there, right? And it's a great functionality and accountability tool for you, for yourself. If you're using a PC coach or a mentor or have a MAPS coach, right? These are some of the tools that you can kind of hold yourself accountable to when having those conversations with them. So today what it is, I invited in Tyler Holloway out of the Fredericksburg office, and I wanted him to talk to us about goal setting and utilizing the tools inside of Command. So Ty, why don't you take a couple minutes to tell us all about you, where you're from, and what you've been doing?
Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Again, my name is Tyler Holloway. I'm the PC out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. And when David originally asked me about coming on the call and talking to y'all, he said I had 30 minutes. So I'm going to have to cut it down a little bit because I can't tell you how excited I am about this tab, about goal setting in general, and about how compiling this information over the course of the next couple of years, I believe is going to be so important, not only for you personally as an agent, but for our company and our clients. So I'm I have a bachelor's degree in real estate. I've done property management. I've done some commercial real estate. I was a real estate agent with my wife, Summer, in Clarksville, Tennessee, where we built a small team there. Then I helped her with a team in Portland, Oregon. And now I'm here in Fredericksburg with all of you wonderful people to preach and just love on each and every one of you, because with this command, I mean, I can't tell you how excited and how much I wish I would have had this when I started in real estate sales. So great to be here. Thanks, David.
Absolutely. And don't rush. I'm like, we have an hour, but I thought, give you a half hour, but if you run a little bit longer than that, it's important stuff. So we're going to be fine.
Great. I appreciate it.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and Tyler's going to talk us through the platform, and we're going to use some of the data that I have inside of my platform.
Yeah, Dave's going to drive, and while he gets logged in here, I had just a word or two about goals in general. And I think it's one of the things that oftentimes, if you don't have a good coach, or you don't have a good mentor or a good teammate, sometimes we can get hung up on goals. We're a very punitive based society. If you don't do this, you get your hand slapped, right? If you do this, a policeman writes you a ticket, right? Whatever the case may be. And a lot of people look at goals that way. And I want to challenge you as we go through this to see the opportunity of setting big goals. I'm going to steal a quote here real quick. However, we have to give ourselves the grace to understand and reserve the right to know that in the future, over the course of the next year, we're going to learn things that could drastically alter our business. So when we go to set goals, we need to reserve the right to understand that we can get better and we can do things better. So it makes sense to set big goals, because tomorrow you may find the piece that clicks in your growth plan that causes you to just go off the deep end in productivity. And I would love to see y'all set big goals and then achieve those because of something that you learned, then set too small of goals and hit those. All right.
All right, so we're going to jump into reports here, and just so everybody's playing along at home. On the left-hand side, you've got your little graph bar. That's your report section. So that's where you would log into your reports. Go ahead, Ty.
How many have actually looked at this? Make you a grid here. How many of you have actually looked at the reports tab?
I don't have anything in there.
You don't have anything in it yet, but you've looked through it. So I see one couple of you have looked through it. All right. When we look at this, it's changed several times. Okay. And the thing that I want you to see is just there at the top. We've got our dashboard, our reports, our goals, and our emails. The tab that we're going to be going through is goals. And when we click on that, it's going to set up something that looks very complicated, however, should be familiar to all of you when we start talking leads, contacts, appointments, agreements, under contract, closed. Okay. Can anyone tell me what this is? It was in a book. This is straight out of the MREA. This is straight out of the economic model on looking at our conversion rates and figuring out how we can have a predictable business and a predictable income. Okay. Now, when we look at this, we can all do different conversion rates, and we'll look at this in a second. But one thing that I think is very important that we gloss over is, David, if you go to the this year drop down, you can see that it has 2019 and 2020 goals. Does anybody have any idea on why we're collecting historical information like that and how powerful that can be for you in the future? Anybody want to comment on that? All right, that means I get to tell you why I'm excited about it, okay? When a lot of people, when they first come into real estate, they are looking for a job. I'm gonna say that again. They're looking for a job. They're looking for what is the bare minimum that I have to do to get the paycheck that I want so that I can take my time away from work to go spend it on other activities and go spend it on other hobbies and things like that. Why I'm so excited about this drop down and the ability to track over time is because Command is training you to be the CEOs of your own business. The ability to look back and see your goals from last year and then see the ones from this year. And then as you go through your real estate career, being able to track the ups and downs and being able to see how you relate to those goals in 10 years is going to blow your mind with what you're going to be able to do with that information. David, is it okay if I prophesy a little bit here? Are you there? Did I lose you?
No, go ahead. I just had muted myself.
Oh, okay. I'm going to prophesy a little bit here, and I don't know that this is going to happen. I don't have anybody at KWRI telling me this, but I was having a conversation with David about this the other day. Real businesses have income statements. Real businesses have profit and loss, and real businesses have pro forma income statements and set their economic goals for the future. And then it's the responsibility to figure out how to meet the customer and get those goals accomplished. I love that this gives us that ability to do that, because once you master this, I really think that this is going to a place where you as a real estate agent will be able to know what your business is worth. I've seen several people get out of real estate after massively successful careers, you know, a single agent making $10, $12 million a year. And when they leave, if they don't have a team or they don't have some long-term setup, they're basically selling a database. And I've seen people go and have a database of 2,000 people and be like, yeah, I got my database, you know, I'm getting out of real estate, I'm not going to use it anymore, and sell it for $1,000, $2,000, $1 a lead, right? The same that you might pay for internet leads or something to that effect. And I'm telling you, if you can show with Command how you hit your goals, what you do, what your conversion rates are, and the marketing that you do, if you do that consistently year over year, you will have business forms and you will have a business setup that will allow you to prove that your business is its own independent entity and not just a function of your sales skills. All right. Went way too far into that. I just love it. I'm just excited. So without further ado, let's go into goals and let's see this Kelly guide. All right, I love Kelly. If you haven't dug into Kelly, dig into her because she's amazing. This is the Kelly guides on goal setting, and I'll comment on it real quick. And then Dave, anything that you want to chime in, I would love to hear your perspective on. When we go in here and we use this Kelly guide to set goals, there are a couple things that we want to look at. Obviously, we want to look at profit, okay? None of us are telling you to go out and build a business and spend $2 million to make $150,000. Okay. We lead with revenue. So the first thing it says right there is, what is your annual profit goal? And I want you to take a look at that based on what it would take to fund your perfect life. That's what we're about, is building the perfect business to fund the perfect life. So I don't want you to look at this on, how do I replace a $30,000 income? What do I need to do that? Unless that's your perfect life. And I'm not there to judge that. I'm saying pick one that will fund the perfect life that you want for you, your family, that will accomplish your spiritual, emotional, health, and family goals. Okay. And I see David, do you want to touch on that with the expenses versus cost of sale? Because that's drastically important.
Yes, I just wanted to highlight this. So you guys, you know, a lot of times people don't understand the depth of the numbers and what they're truly putting in. And I appreciate you kind of talking to that. And these little icons, actually, for eyes for information, really do a great job of telling you, what are we asking for you here? Because I don't think a lot of people understand the difference between expenses and cost of sales. So if you look at each of those and say, all right, so expenses are everything that I have to pay for, right? Salaries, lead generation, marketing expenses, education, like license renewals, right? Things that I have to pay each year, every month, regardless if I sell a single transaction. So those are your expenses. and for the entire year. Cost of sales, expenses that are made only when a transaction takes place. Splits to agents, splits to market center, right? Do I pay an ISA or a transaction coordinator? There are things that I have to do. Do I have somebody putting up signs up for me? Do I have to purchase lock boxes or signage? Are there things that I have to do that are transaction-based cost of sales? Photography, video tours, all those things. So that is cost of sales versus cost and expenses, fixed versus based on performance.
Great. Thanks, David. And then one thing that I want to highlight before we move on from this one, and I think you'll agree that it's important, is when we look at average commission per unit. If you are an experienced agent with a couple years of data, I would love for you to go back and I would love for you to look at your sales and figure out what exactly your average commission is. We get hung up a lot on, hey, we're going to ask our team leader, we're going to ask our PC coach, we're going to ask somebody, hey, what's the average commission here? And then use numbers that don't make sense for us. Remember, in real estate, there's really two ways to make more money. You can either sell more houses or you can sell more expensive houses. So you need to go back and you need to look at what you actually sell, what the price ranges are, and base this off your average commission. If you're a luxury agent, I would be happy if you would say, hey, my average commission is lower, so I would love for you to make more money. However, I think it's important that we take a look at that and make sure that we're reflecting actual numbers in our goals and taking a look at what lead generation goes into that. But this isn't a lead generation class. That's what I got. You want to talk business makeup, David?
Absolutely. So this again, so knowing your numbers, and that goes to business makeup and it goes up to average commission, right? If you've been in the business for a certain period of time, you have a pretty good idea, or you should, or you need to go back and look as to what is the makeup of business. Do I typically take and work with listings, or do I typically take and work with buyers? Or do I work with a good amount of leases? There's a lot of leases that take place in Northern Virginia, and there are agents that I know, associates in our business, our market centers, that make a very good living off of working in leases. So that could be a big part of your business. For me, it is not. I don't do that. So you'll see here, I've got 80-20, okay, because I'm leaning towards the listing side of things. I do a lot of training, as you guys know. So I'm not beating the street working with buyers a whole lot. I refer those out. So I keep those to friends and family. So my numbers are skewed to leads, listings, and leverage, right? So I'm on that side of the scale. When I was a newer agent, this was inversed. It was probably 20% listings, right? Maybe even lower, 10%, and 90% buyers, because everything that I was doing was coming from an open house, right? Or new people that I was meeting. So I was very buyer centric when I was a new associate. Or maybe you're on a team as a buyer's agent. Well, then you're going to be buyer heavy. So these numbers, again, specific to you. If you're flat out new to the business, I would probably lean towards saying that you're, realistically speaking, you're going to do more buyers than listings, but only you know what that's going to look like for you. And you can always start with and sticking to the MRE model at a 50-50 start if you want to. Going back and understanding that, hey, one, if I'm new to the business, what's the average price in my market center? And maybe it's 500,000. Well, if that's the average and I'm a new associate, it's probably going to be starting a little bit lower than average. So I might cushion that a little bit. I might put, hey, that my average is 400,000, so maybe the commission is going to be $12,000. That's that gross commission, not anything. But if I'm not getting 3%, is the market bearing 2.5, 2.6, 2.7? Against calculate it across and try to make these numbers as accurate as possible. We're not looking at putting fluff in here, right? We want you to make and get to your sustainable goals with accurate data.
Absolutely, David. And the more accurate you can make this, the better historical information you're gonna have. It's fantastic. All right, moving on.
Well, let's pause here for one question. See if there's any questions around setting the goals to the now. I'm not saying anything in the chat room, but if somebody wants to open up a mic or ask a question, anything around we've gone over on this page, now's a great time to do that. I guess we're just that good, Ty.
Wait till we get to the next page.
Exactly.
All right. Well, here we have, this should is what we talked about, should look very familiar in my MREA, which is the little spiral bound one. We're at page 129, but we're talking about the economic model here. Okay. And you can use average conversion rates. There's conversion rates within that. And then other people in your office can give you conversion rates. However, it already has some entered in when you go in here. This is a drastically important thing as you move through your real estate career, is understanding your opportunities for growth. Okay. So when you look at this, it says each item below represents the rate of which one item converts into another. As we look at that, it will tell us the effectiveness of our delivery, the effectiveness of our scripts, the effectiveness of our buyers or listing presentations, and the how well we have built out our opportunities in Command to make sure that the transaction process goes smoothly. So this, use what you've got, okay? And then as you go through, I would love for you to keep in mind, whether it's on a quarterly basis or on a semi-annually basis, look at these conversion rates and actually map out what you historically were experiencing, because it will give you real-time data into how you can adjust and what opportunities you have for growth and improvement, and where you can get on a regional training about building out your opportunities or building out your transaction process within Command to make sure that you have a service-based and a repeatable and actionable business that takes care of your clients. Dave, what would you say is important on this page?
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. Again, we're talking about knowing your numbers. So what was the page that you referenced in the MRE model again, for that's got all these laid out for the starting?
I'm on page 129. I got the circle bound one, so I don't know if it's exact with the other one. However, it's the economic model. That's what we're talking about.
Awesome. And what's important to know here is that these should look a little familiar to you. If this looks a little bit like opportunities, then it should, right? Because when we talk about opportunities and moving people from cultivate, right, to appointment, to active, to under contract, to close, and each one of those, we talk to leads and moving them to contacts, and in creating and setting appointments. Were those appointments kept? Did those kept appointments become active contracts for a residential purchase or a residential listing, right? Did those listing or purchase opportunities become pending contracts? Did those pending contracts become closed? So this directly ties back to the opportunities, right? And inside of opportunities, when we look at total commission income and probable income, the probabilities are based off of the rates that we have here that are also inside of your opportunity goals. So the more you do, the more you convert, and the more you track your numbers, the more realistic understanding you have about your profitability and your pipeline. Now, as Kelly becomes more self-aware in the artificial intelligence game, the more transactional data that you do from start to finish, and by start, I mean putting them in the cultivate stage, not just dropping them in an active or when I put on someone under a contract, and moving them through the different stages of the checklist inside of your system. These numbers will become intuitive enough to start telling you real life information that you're accurately maybe at 12% leads to contacts or 48% contacts to opportunities. And it can only start to do that if you start with a baseline for yourself and continuing to add those opportunities into the system. Back to you, Ty.
Oh yeah, and right there with you. We want to build a business that we can predict. And you are the CEOs of your business, understanding your opportunities for growth and your opportunities within Command will get that for you and will allow you to make more money. This isn't an exercise. This isn't an extra thing for you to do. This is how you can say, hey, I'm lacking in this skill and I have a real opportunity for growth. Hey, team leader, hey, maps coach, hey, PC coach, whatever the case may be, how do I take my game to the next level so that I can take a conversion rate of 30% and move it to 40%? So, yep, love this page. Save and continue when you're ready, David, because I think you hit it perfectly.
All right, we're there.
All right, reviewing your goals. This gives you another opportunity to look over what your business is so that you can plan what you want it to be and help you through. Not everybody's goal is to do 80% listings. Me personally, I loved listings. Buyers were the ones that I had the most opportunity for growth in, because I was happy understanding how the listing process worked. I was happy understanding how the CMA worked and how to get a home sold. And it sounds like David's in the same boat here. However, here's a great opportunity and can show you just the information that you put in to review. I don't have a lot on this page because it's reviewing all the stuff we just did.
This is just a review page. So this is just kind of summarizing everything that you've put into this point. So you can look at this, it's a high level look. You can hit the back button, right? And go back and edit the numbers that you put in if you realize, hey, something's askew. But this is just kind of all 4 stages that you put information in so far, looking at it at its highest level.
Yeah, and that's the Kelly guide for it. I would love, if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, I would love to hear them at this point.
Yeah, we've walked through everything here, and then once we go through the Kelly guide, now we've got this goals page, right? So now we can kind of see everything, and as we start to work through, right, these numbers start to increase based off of our goals that we put into the system. And now as we start tracking people and adding activities and moving people through the pipelines, these numbers start to go up. And you see that they're broken down by lead gen, listings, buyers, right? I have the ability to compare these numbers, right? I can compare them against, it's gamifying, right? I can compare them against my market center, agents in my states, all agent, top producing agents in the company, right? So you'll see that you've got a lot of opportunities in here to compare yourself against others. So I see something just popped in the chat room, so see where we're at.
And let's imagine for the second the power of that, because I don't know any other independent business where you can say, here are my conversion rates, here are my goals, here's how much money I want to make. Let me take one of the top people in the nation and let me see how I'm doing compared to them with their conversion rates.
Yeah, and we have a question here, and I think this is a valid question, is do we recommend updating goals throughout the year? So remember, you're setting your goals in October, right? This is when we sit down and we have our business consultations for the following year. So we're building our forecast model of what we're going to get to. And once you've kind of set your goals, right, in conjunction with working with your PC coach, your mentor, your MAPS coach, you want to see how you get to those goals. So you don't want to be increasing those goals, right, if you've outperformed them. You want to see how you're doing in your metrics against the goals that you set. That's my personal opinion. I don't know if Ty or Eric has something else in coordinates for that, but I think if you set your goals, the whole purpose is to, can I attain them? Can I exceed them? Or where did I fall short? And if I'm changing them on a month-to-month basis, then I'm not really getting a true understanding. I'm just moving those markers down the road.
May I offer you something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So one of the things, so you'll hear Gary say that people are movable, goals aren't. And what I want to encourage you guys to think about is the fact that you want to work in a market on a moment, right? And one of the things that the book, The Shift, talks about is the fact that when the market changes, your goals don't change. Only the people that you need to be talking to create the opportunity. So it's something to keep in mind is that you want to stay true to your goals, and you want to adjust your audience or the people that you're looking to do business with based on the opportunity in the market or the moment. And that could be, your coaches can speak to you specifically to that throughout the year. And that will give you more clarity on how to really narrow down on the activities that you must do, because all our goals will be different and our audiences will be different. So just something to think about.
No, you're right on. And as Eric's talking and Ty's talking, I just want you to see that there's different ways of looking at this information. I can look at it at monthly or annually, right? So you can see that you're going to have spikes in particular months in relation to your goals, because a lot of the business that we do is cyclical, right? We've got seasonal activity, right? We get sequestered and locked down, so that changes things. But I want you to go in here and start to look at these numbers and try to really dive in deep and understand what you're doing and what are these numbers actually telling you. So the more versed in you get in this, more granular you get. I was in restaurants for a really long time. From the time I was 13 till 30, I either worked as a dishwasher or ran restaurants and resorts, right? And when it came to understanding the metrics, I knew it as good as anybody. I learned from a great mentor in my food and beverage career, and I literally knew what my drivers all were. You know, and sometimes you guys will hear me talk about average check, right? That's sales price on the house, or client capture rate, right? That's the number of consumers I'm working with. Those are the things that I can control the most to a degree. Is like, how many people am I working with, and what is my average price? And those are the biggest two things that will fluctuate my business up and down, and everything else becomes granular, controlling expenses in relation with that. So being able to be true to yourself, and these drivers will start to tell you what that looks like.
Hi, David.
Yes, sir.
Hi, can you go across the goals versus actuals? If I'm understanding this correctly, as we get down, like in the whoever's example on the top here, the under contract goal, the annual goal is 12, and the close would be 11. Would that be 11 closed transactions?
Yeah, so basically it's breaking down your goals based on of your splits and your percentages, and telling what you need to do to attain those goals.
Okay, so if you had, if it says 12 under contract goal, oh, well, no, it changed. Okay.
I'm showing you that I can look at the monthly or I can look at them annually.
Okay.
So, right, this is saying that my under contract, for me to hit my goals, would be 12 transactions under contract. And this would mean that I would hit, based off my percentages, which I said was 93% going from contract to close, that 11 of those are going to close.
Okay. All right. So they necessarily don't have to be the same.
What's that?
Under contract and close.
No, they're not going to be the same unless you're amazing, which you all are. But the realistically that if every single thing I put under contract goes to close, I don't think there's anyone. I'll be honest. My very first transaction I ever did a business fell apart at the closing table. So life lessons for me. I know there's no such thing as a sure thing until it's completely done. I hope that never happens to you. But just because I went under contract doesn't mean it's going to close.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense then. Okay, great. Thank you for clarifying.
Hey, not a problem. Great question.
That's true.
Now, any questions on this goal screen? Because I want to show you that it's not just here. You can see these goals in different places on your platform, right? Coming into reports and going to goals is great. But if you come to your home screen on the upper left-hand side here, and just remind, if you're not sure what these keys are on the left, you can hit the KW and this pops out for you. I have on my home screen, I've got my goals. They're right here. They show up. So I can actually go to customize my home screen, and I can say, hey, I want to see my goals versus actual, and I want to see my database health score, right? And then I can drag the order of the things around on my home screen and apply those changes so that every day when I log in, those goals are staring at me in the face. Like, that's where they need to be, right? That should be the first thing that you see every day are your goals. I mean, PC coaches, tell me if I'm wrong. How regularly should you be looking at these?
No, I love it. We gotta look at them every day. And the great one of the great things that Command gives us is the ability to put it right there in front, to develop, lead generation, everything strategy based off of our goals, and to do that historical data. These for me aren't things to change on a weekly or monthly basis. These are things for me to shoot for and figure out how I can solve the problems around them. So having it right here, having the historical data and being able to go, hey, my goal was to close 2 houses this month. Yeah, we have a situation going on. What are my roadblocks? How do I need to get around those? What other strategies do I need to implement with my coach or my team leader, whoever? So it's an amazing platform.
One of the things that you guys really like that I encourage you all that we all need to do is really focus on those 4 conversations, right? The leads, the appointments, on the contract and close units. And so if you look at these as doors, which is something that we have been talking to everyone that we get a chance and the privilege to work with, is that the leads, right, come from your lead generation model, right? So in order for you to create opportunities for listing appointments and buyer appointments, you first have to walk through the first door. The first door is the lead generation. So how many people do you need to have positive contact with in order to create an opportunity for a buyer or a seller, right? As you're doing that, you're creating your value proposition, which is something we all need to think about, especially in times like this. You're virtual now. You have an incredible platform in which you can track your activities, and you could do marketing campaigns that support who you are as a business person. And then as you continue to do that, you open the second door because now you have appointments. And now because of the service that you provide, which is something that we continually talk about, which is your wall of value, is who you are as a real estate professional. Now you are able to get to closings, right? Those closings are based on the value that you provide to your clients and how great they feel about being part of your platform, being part of your tribe, being part of having that 100% healthy relationship on your command platform, because now you know their birthdays, kids, wives' names, where they work, where they live, where they want to move to, favorite hobbies, and then you're having 100% virtual relationships that are healthy on your platform, which ultimately leads you to profit for a very long time based on the 7 to 10 year cycle of people buying or selling, because you want to bring them onto your platform forever to become your best friends and to be friends for life. So this gives you an opportunity to track your activities, and the 4 conversations give you like the 4 conversations that you need to focus on a daily basis. I'm sorry. I just wanted to give you guys some feedback on that.
We appreciate you. I just
Yeah,
want to show
absolutely.
you at this highest level, there's another quick access. The things you learn when you're playing around with this platform. I didn't even know these quick hyperlinks were there. That if I actually click on goals and actuals, that brings me into the reportings page without having to jump through here. That'll bring me right to my goals and actuals for my goals. So little things, the little nuances that are built into the platform that you never know until you actually click on something where this is going to take you to, right? So this is pretty cool. Something else I wanted to jump into, and Ty, thank you, and Eric, thank you for your insight on the goal setting, is also understanding that there's other reporting features built inside the platform for you to look at. That's not just based around the goals, right? So we go back to reports. We'll see here, right? I've got goals here, but I also have my dashboard. So my dashboard gives me my overlay. So my health score is here, right? My activity health score. You know, how many people do I have phone numbers, emails, addresses? Those all tie back to leads and conversations and conversion, right? They all have something they're in common with each other, because if I don't have information, how can I cultivate a relationship with somebody to get them to be a closed transaction? So having a phone number, email address, home address, right? Neighborhoods, which means they're attached to a smart plan, anniversary and birthdays. These are the biggest things that tie to our 36 touch communication, right? Because then I can reach out, call somebody quarterly. I can email them regularly. If I have an address in a neighborhood, I can send them bi-weekly neighborhood nurtures. If I have their home anniversary, then I can touch them twice at the end of the year to talk about how things have been going the past year about their home, right? We know the average homeowner stays in their house about 5 to 7 years, right? So if I know their home anniversary, right? And usually around year 3, they may start having thoughts or conversations around what it might look like if they need to move. That's just the nature of people. So understanding where they are, how long they've been there is really, really important. Obviously, birthdays. We talk about that quite regularly, reaching out to people. Well, now I know that Dave's got some work to do in his database. He's got to go back through and do what he's been preaching, is take those Facebook birthdays and tie them to their contact record. And again, gamifying. I can track myself. I got agents in my market center, agents in my state, all agents, and agents productions for everything. Now, I will say the 9 numbers are a little bit lower because I've uploaded a whole bunch of agents into my system because of what I'm doing now. And I don't have their addresses. So I've got some work to do there. But you guys should all be, to me, without doubt, at a minimum, 60% health score. At its highest, you should be well over 80%. So I want you to start gaming yourself where I should have their name, I should have a phone number, I should have an email address, I should have a home address, okay? And email, cell phone, email, and address, and get to that 80%. That's an absolute no-brainer. And then adding in tags, birthdays, home anniversaries, lead source, and job. That's how I get to 100% health score. So that's important to have all that information to communicate appropriately with everybody. I can break these things down by sources, right? cities, where people live, right? I can break that down. Look at this. I have a legend here from my database telling me, hey, 44% of the people in my database live in Ashburn. 3% are my hometown of Jenkintown. 3% in Alexandria. These guys didn't know that this was broken down this way. Filtering out, looking at my comparisons, again, myself against everybody else in the company. So this is on your overview dashboard. And I can break it down by contacts and leads, right? Because there's a difference between met, haven't met, or that one-way conversation as a lead, or two-way conversation means that we've connected. That's the difference between lead and contacts. As I work across the top and I go to reports, there's a lot of things in it. Now, reports will continue to evolve with more data we have at our disposal inside of the system. So reports will just continue to get more enhanced. I can export the data right here on the upper right-hand side, so I can get me into a spreadsheet, right? I can look at year to date. I can look at month to date. I can look at last month. And right now I'm looking at an opportunities report. So it's telling me that I've got 19 opportunities, right? I have one new opportunity for listing. Then it's breaking down my buyers, right? So I can look at these at a high level. I can break down my report, okay? So the database report, I can look at my overall health score, data records, percentage score, new contacts. Again, I'm able to change them to look at what looks like today, yesterday, last week. And if I'm tracking my activities, right? That's important. Am I completing tasks? Do I have smart plans engaged? Some of these numbers I know aren't 100% pulling yet, but I want you to know that they're behind there and that you should be tracking them in your contact record. If you're making calls, sending pop-bys, having people on smart plans, this as people are utilizing your apps, they're going to start favoriting things, right? So they're going to start to have likes and hearts to properties. If I've had meetings or made phone calls or I have calendar events, it's all starting to track or will all start to track here. I can look at the different lead sources, leads by city, right? Leads by sources that's getting developed. And then I can change this down here from leads to contacts and say, hey, how's my database broken out? I have 394 total, 8 are new. I've got my 66%, I have a phone number, 73% have an email address, and I've got some work to do on some of the other things. If I drop to my goals report, it's a different way of looking at my goals overview. I haven't closed any transactions this year, so that's why I've got a whole bunch of zeros across here, but your numbers will be different. So that's breaking down for database goals and opportunities. If I go over here to emails and I'm running campaigns, right, or smart plans, right, then I can look at, hey, were they opened? Were they delivered? I have 124 that have been opened emails, right? 12 people have replied to. Nobody's unsubscribed and none are marked as spam. And I've got 5,000 per month that I can send out. And that's just this month. Can look at my usage amount. So I know that I have 5,000 emails to send out each month, or I have to increase my platform, and that can be done through the marketplace. So, or I can, that's here right now. I can upgrade my email plan. If I go back and there's a couple other reports that I can look at, like if I go to the opportunities themselves and I scroll to the bottom of my opportunities, I can look at my monthly activities. Give this a second to refresh. Here we go. This is broken down by month of what's going on, all opportunities. I can break them down between listings, buyer, landlord, or tenant, right? They're broken down over here by percentages. And then I've got what's closing this month. All right, I got a question here. Awesome, I'm glad you're enjoying it. So I think, again, I'm going to tie this back to the nuances that are inside of command for you. I don't think a lot of people or enough people are looking at their goals and the reporting metrics and understanding that they are there for you, and those will continue to evolve. Now, this isn't quite a full 1 hour class today, so we're going to let you guys off a little bit early, but I just want to see, was there any questions, anything we covered that we weren't clear on, or how to get there? Okay, so somebody's got a question. So Bogdan, go ahead and ask. Okay, great question. All my recorded classes or the region recorded classes are uploaded to our YouTube channel. And I will go ahead and bring that up on the screen for you and post the link in the chat room. Give me a second to refresh here. I'm glad people ask this every day because I a lot of times, I'll be honest, I forget to bring it up myself. But if you go to the YouTube channel, so you can either go to YouTube and search for KWVA WV Region 12, or you can go to our link directly. And I'm working on getting a more custom link. I should have that soon. I've got to get a better link for that. I'm going to put this in here for everybody to have. All right, that's now in the chat room for you. But you'll see that on the YouTube channel, we've got everything broken down into playlists. That everything's broken down by categories, right? Smart plans, designs, consumer. And what I'll do today is I'll either add a general info or I'll create a goals and reportings tab is probably what I'll do. And it'll be underneath there. It'll be up later today.
Hey, Dave, where was that last slide you showed? Where did you get that from?
The last slide.
Where you had the all the data and you had the chart that was trending upward.
That was under opportunities. I'm just going to go ahead and come back here real quick.
Under emails or?
The opportunities.
Okay.
On the left-hand side, there's opportunities.
Uh-huh.
Loads up. At the bottom of the opportunities page, dashboard, I have all these activities that are breaking down what my opportunities are doing.
Oh, okay. So the activity chart to the left there. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, great.
It's at the bottom of the main, so it's at the bottom of this page. I think a lot of people come here, and a lot of times you've got to go below the fold, right? So you got to scroll down on these pages and see what else is on there. Good question.
Yeah.
All right, so fair question. In the light of the current market and the pandemic, are you tweaking your goals? Eric and Ty, do you have any feedback on that? Should we be tweaking our goals?
Here's how I feel about it. We can all have good quarters. We can all have bad quarters. I wouldn't recommend you tweak and change your goals. I would recommend you tweak and change your activities. Okay. So if you need to pivot, you need to shift your business. I would rather you look for and spend the time in creation mode in your mind to find ways to help people and to find ways to continue to push your business forward. It's a perfect opportunity to try new things. I would not recommend that you go back and change your goals in command because it destroys the value of that economic data. If I'm a CEO and I don't care what business I am, I want to have our goals. And then if something outside of my control happens, I want to know how my business can change and how that really affects my business, especially if in the future, I want to borrow money during this time to be able to show these were my goals. This was the economic, medical, whatever impact on that. So that when I go to the future, I can go, hey, I need a short-term loan to get through this. This is the historical data that shows how it affected my business last time and that my business came out fine and was ahead. So I wouldn't tweak your goals. I would search creatively for new activities that allow you to hit your goals. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I noticed that better myself. Your goal, you're true to your goals, your activities. One second, let's get a mute there. Okay, the goals are affected by what's going on. And even though you may not attain your goals in this current state of market, either for the month, the quarter, or the year, I think it's important to know that your goals were affected by something that happened. And therefore, I think you're cheating yourself if you modify those goals to hit where you are in the market. Does that make sense?
Hey, Dave, one of the things that they could also work with their individual coaches is the GPS. Right? So I know that we all focus on the command platform, and remember, your strategies is the only thing that needs to change, which is exactly what Coach Ty said. And keep your goals, and then sit down and really think about the strategies and the market of the moment, which is what we continue to talk about. What is it that you need to change now? It's simply a strategy. And then if you're not virtual, how do you get virtual? How do you get on social media? What are the messages that you need to be communicating? How often do you need to do it? Who do you need to do it to? What are the environments in which you need to be diving into, meaning communities inside social media and or communities within your neighborhoods. So it's really about what kind of environment you have around you and the people that you already know, and then making the most out of it in the market of the moment. And that it just takes a little bit of sitting down, some accountability, and also some really masterminding around the people that are in your area or the people that are helping you, like your coaches. So something to think about.
No, you're spot on. We're coming up on 10 to 11. I know a lot of you have an 11 o'clock call, so we're going to end this one a little bit short today, but I want to make sure everybody got every nook and cranny and value out of this call. We have some great PC coaches on today. Any last unanswered questions that you guys are looking to hear from these guys for? Okay. Well, as
this is
always,
great, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
What was that?
I said this was great. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'll have this up and loaded sometime later today. So it'll be later on the YouTube channel, and I'll post it on the Facebook channel as well that it's been loaded. Tomorrow, remember it's Friday, we have our regional call at 10 o'clock with all the great training. So look for that. That should be coming out from your region. And I also have it posted on the Facebook page. We have great interviews. Sheila Cuadros, the team leader in Falls Church, will be interviewing some associates about how they're adapting and continuously growing their business in a down, not even a down market, in an opportunity market, right? So that will happen tomorrow. I am taking a break. There'll be no classes next week at 10 o'clock, but we'll be restructuring some of the things that we're doing and coming back the following. So next week, there'll be no 10 a.m. command session. So please take that time. Go back, surf the YouTube channel, watch the classes that you may have missed. Drive some in-depth questions from watching those videos, maximize command, have high level conversations with your PC coaches and your market center tech trainers to incorporate command in your business so you truly understand these tools. I do fully expect that a lot of the other things that we talk about, economics and finances, we're going to see more and more and more out of this platform as it gets further developed, that it will be all encompassing for you going forward. So with that, I appreciate all of you. Thank you for coming. Thank you to Ty and Eric for chiming in with us and being on board with us today. And we'll see you all again real soon.
They can join us next week if they want to. I want to share that link if you could share that link with them for the morning power ups if they want to, come join us for the morning power ups. It's open to anybody that wants to come join us in lead generation.
Yeah, we can certainly share that in the Facebook group. I'd be more than happy to.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Coach Ty. I appreciate your knowledge and information, man. This was awesome.
Take care, everybody. Stay safe, stay informed.